Well, first of all, welcome everybody. Shout out to everybody who's joining us virtually. So glad you're here with us today. As Christy said, my name is Chris Barta. I'm proud to be a part of Marvin in our community here, and I'm also very proud to be the volunteer campaign chair for 2020. First off, I also want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of this year's campaign. I'm grateful to everybody here and everybody online. You know, many of us, like me, have been involved with the United Way for many years, and some of us have been, are new to the United Way. Maybe this is your first year. You know, we all have different reasons why we get involved, and I want to share a few of mine. You know, first of all, our United Way knows our community needs. They have the unique position of seeing all the challenges of our local community, and with that knowledge, they strategically invest the dollars raised into programs that will have the best long-term impact on people in poverty. And so I know that our investment is spent well. You know, second, our United Way is run like a business, and that might sound weird, but the United Way is run like a successful company. I'm an engineer at heart. I like strategy. I like developing plans to achieve those strategies, bringing the right people together to facilitate the execution of those plans, and then measuring the results to see how we did. The United Way team is extremely good at all this. They see the needs of the community, they bring the right people together, they solve the problem, and then measure it to make sure that we have lasting change. And I enjoy getting to be a part of a team like this that is really, really good at what they do. You know, finally, our United Way's work changes lives. You know, seeing the kids' eyes light up when they receive one of those new backpacks, hearing that we're a part of programs like Tap Ride, which is a new service helping people to get to work who couldn't before, and knowing that we're laser focused on reducing homelessness. At the root of every story, there's a person, and it's one of our neighbors whose life is changed by whatever that event is. And I like that, you know, we get to be a part of helping that and being a part of that lasting change. So again, I can't think of a better reason to do what we do.
I completely agree, Chris. Thanks for sharing. And you know, we've heard a lot this year that it's going to be a challenging year, but what are your thoughts on the challenge ahead of us?
I like to look at this as a challenge and an opportunity, and so let me explain. You know, none of us in our lifetime have seen anything like this pandemic. It's changing all of us, our jobs, our routines, our families, our social habits. Our days look dramatically different than what they did, say, 3 months ago. And with all this change, now more than ever, we are needed to rally and inspire our community to give. I think we're up to the challenge, and this is where I think the challenge is our opportunity. In this time of change, I see people caring for one another. I see people identifying what is the most important. I see people going above and beyond. In times of crisis, time and time again, our community comes together. And this is one of those times. And this is the opportunity for us to do something special. More than in any other year, we need to see and understand the needs of our neighbors, see and feel why our support as a community is so needed. We need to inspire others to invest in a meaningful change, and we need to be that spark.
You were that spark alongside of 700 other volunteers, Chris, when you worked on the school supply drive this year. So tell us a little bit about your experience volunteering at the school supply drive.
Sure. A few weeks ago, I got to help assemble the backpacks. And again, I really like process. I'm an engineering nerd, I'm sorry to say, but I like the process. I like to see how things get done. Imagine a space about the size of a basketball court, filled with boxes and boxes and boxes of pens and pencils and paper and folders and erasers and those backpacks. Enough stuff to fill 6,000 plus backpacks. Imagine the work to procure all those supplies, sort and load all those supplies into the backpacks, and then distribute them all. And now, due to COVID, imagine revamping that process to do it safely. It was no small task. United Way rallied the community to find innovative solutions. Donors, our schools, the United Way team, over 700 volunteers. People like you stepped up to make sure that 6,040 kids got those backpacks. We overcame the challenge by everyone pulling together and playing their part. And I'm always impressed by the work of the United Way, and it's another example of what Living United is all about.
A perfect example of what Living United is all about. So Chris, I would love to hear your reflection and your reaction to the stories we heard about students in our community that Jan and Sarah shared with us today.
Sure. Quick show of hands in the audience, and please weigh in on social media if you're watching there. How many people out there were aware that there's actually a full-time staff member for Fargo Public Schools who's a homeless liaison, and nearly their entire job is to help students who are homeless? How many people knew that position existed? By looking in the audience, the lights are kind of bright here, but it doesn't look like very many people. How many of you imagine that there are more than 237 kids just in the Fargo Public Schools alone living a version of the video that we just watched? Raise your hand. 237. It leaves a pit in my stomach. These kids living in our community right now are our future leaders and maybe our future coworkers. Every child deserves an opportunity to have a successful future. When I think of those kids, I go back to the goal that Tom laid out. Tom said, to work together as a community to prevent 90% of families and children from becoming homeless by 2023. I said this before, at the root of every story, there's a person. And in this case, in Fargo Public Schools alone, it's 237 kids. Mm-hmm. I can't think of a better reason, again, to do what we do. Mm-hmm. So for all those people out there online, and when I look into the audience, let's make the 2020 United Way campaign the best yet. Be unstoppable and live united.
Yes. I agree.